There's a battle brewing in Washington over whether the Democrats in the Congress can actually get their hands on President Trump's tax returns. I just want to plant the seed. We're going to follow this story, of course, but I want to plant the seed that the federal law that applies to the question of whether or not Congress can get a hold of President Trump's tax returns was passed by Congress in response to President Nixon's efforts to use people's tax returns against his political enemies. Nixon was trying to get tax returns of people he didn't like, and he was doing that in such an egregious manner that Congress passed a law, Section 6103 of the Internal Revenue Code, guaranteeing the confidentiality of all tax returns, yours, mine, even President Trump's. So the Democrats are trying to say essentially they have some reason. The point, by the way, the point of that law was you can't seek tax returns just for partisan politics. You have to have a reason. There is a federal law that permits the heads of certain congressional committees to get tax returns of taxpayers and many other people, but you can't be doing it for political reasons. So President Trump has retained apparently just a phenomenal tax attorney who's already said, and by the way, has already told Congress that the Trump administration, are not authorizing the IRS to release the tax returns. They've told them that they are going to stand on President Trump's right to have privacy in his tax returns. What the people from Congress are asking for is Chairman Richard Neal of the House Ways and Means Committee. He's asked the Internal Revenue Commissioner, Charles Rettig, for copies of tax returns by President Trump and 8 of his companies for the last 6 years. This is clearly as they say in the law, fishing expedition. This is, can we find something to get this guy? And you know, if you're one of the people thinking, well, if Trump hasn't done anything wrong, why doesn't he just give them the tax returns just to make them happy? And the answer is this: nothing he ever does will make them happy, number one. And number two is, any lawyer worth their salt, frankly, any first-year law student who'd taken a tax course, can find something in some tax return that they could argue was not applied correctly, the exemption was not available, the exception doesn't apply to you, the numbers were somehow off. All this will do, if President Trump were to concede and give his tax returns to Congress, is open a whole new flood of attacks about what his tax returns did, what they said, what they shouldn't have contained. It will never end. President Trump is right to stand strong against this congressional effort, this fishing expedition, to try to find something they can attack him on. Much more to come, I'm sure, but I want to just weigh in at the start to say, you gotta fight these people every step of the way. The mission of the Democrats is not any legitimate, in this case, not any legitimate concern about tax fraud. It is hoping to find something, further evidence in their worldview, as to ultimately bring them around to be able to bring impeachment against him. That's all they're looking for, is some grounds for impeachment. No reasonable lawyer would advise President Trump, well, go ahead and give it to them. We'll work with them. It doesn't work that way in Washington today.